Hey everybody, welcome and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I've got to do a bookbinding and I've got an NIV paperback book that I'm going to be using. I got this off of Amazon. It's one of their economical models, and this right here is going to be perfect because it gives me an opportunity to practice my rebinding for future projects, which are going to be much bigger. And so anytime we want to do something and get better at it, we need to put in the reps. So this is going to help me to not spend quite so much money. And when I get done with it, I'm going to be donating it as well. So somebody will be able to get a nice Bible that is no longer paperback, but a nice hardcover with book cloth. So stick around and let's get started. All right, getting started. First thing we're going to do is remove the cover. In this case, being a paperback, all we've got to do is just rip the cover straight on off, being careful to not try to rip any more pages off than possible. Next, we're going to clean up the spine. So we're going to try to get all of the excess paper off the spine as we can. In a lot of cases, you would also be taking off the glue to try to clean it up completely so you could do more. But in this case, since it's just a practice run, I'm just going to take a knife and clean it all off screen. I also used a Dremel to help finish cleaning it off instead of using the knife the whole way. But you can also use a hot glue gun and a palette knife to try to get all the excess glue off. The next step is going to be cutting the super, which is used for a spine stiffener and helps to attach the case. Then we're going to measure and cut out the headband and tailband. Lastly, we're going to glue all of that together along with the ribbon. Now it's time to create the end sheets. I'm taking a piece of cardstock and folding it over in half. Then I'm going to use the text block itself to get a referential measurement to know exactly how big to cut it. Now we're going to be cutting the gray board, which is going to be for the front, back, and the spine. In the same way I did the last part, I'm going to be using the book itself as the referential measurement. So I'm going to be cutting the width of it the same as the text block itself. Then I'm going to be cutting the height plus 6 millimeters. That way I can have a 3 millimeter reveal all the way around it. And lastly, for the spine, I'm going to cut the spine the same thickness as the text block plus 1 board. Now I'm going to glue in the end sheets, also called tipping in. I'm also going to be gluing on the super to the end sheets as well before putting it into the book press to let it dry. Typically you would not do it this time because not that it hurts anything, it's just going to make a bit of a mess. I got a little bit overzealous. Instead of just tipping in the end sheets and letting them dry, I went ahead and glued the super on as well. So it doesn't really matter, but it just made a bit of a mess when I put it into the book press. Now I'm about to put it into the book press, and I'm putting some blotting paper in between the end sheets. This is going to be so that way when it dries, the two parts of the end sheet won't glue themselves together. Now that the text block is out of the book press, we're going to glue on a spine stiffener. This is nothing more than some craft paper that we cut and glue onto the spine in order to give it some extra rigidity. Now it's time to create the case. I'm using book cloth for this one. So I'm going to start with a ruler in order to be able to keep everything straight as I'm putting everything together. Keep it all aligned. I'm also using 8mm spacers in between the spine and the top and bottom in order to give me the correct spacing all the way around it. I'm using PVA glue for this. This is regular white Elmer's glue. If I was doing a old Bible, doing a restoration, then I would use something that is acid free. But in this case, it's just practice, and this is not meant to be kept around for 100 years. So I'm just using regular white glue. This is good for practice, as the acid free glue is going to be more expensive. Now that I've got the first piece glued on, I'm going to flip it around and then press on it in order to get all the bubbles out from underneath between the book cloth and the case. Then I'm also going to push it around the sides in order to help form it, to make it easier later on when I go to turn it in. Now I need to trim the book cloth to the right size, so I'm using a 15mm spacer that I 3D printed all the way around to give me the correct spacing for turning in. Then I'm going to use a corner cutting jig in order to get the corners cut so that way I can turn it in. Next, we're going to put in some waste paper so that way we don't mess up our table. Then we're going to use our glue to glue in the turn ins. So typically you're going to start on one side, turn it in, and then you would go to the other side. I ended up going all the way around. Typically the reason why you wouldn't do it that way is because you want the corners to all look exactly the same. Ultimately, the book doesn't care whether you go from side to side and then top and bottom, or that you just go straight all the way around. But if you're wanting to make it more professional, then going from side to side, then doing top and bottom, so that way everything is uniform, is typically going to be the better way to go. Once you get everything glued in, then it's going to be time to go into the book press and let it dry. Now it's time to case the text block. So first I'm going to take some weights in order to be able to keep the case from moving around. And it's also going to allow me to, when I put the text block in and glue it, then I'll be able to hopefully move it around as I need to quickly before the glue starts to set up. After I do this, I will be putting some aluminum sheets in there in order to, when I put it into the book press, to keep it from being able to glue itself together. So last time I used blotting paper, this time I'll be using aluminum sheets. Either way, it doesn't matter as long as it's something that's not going to stick and glue itself together, because that would not be good. Now for the last thing to do is I'm going to cut out some heat transfer vinyl in order to have it say NIV Holy Bible. So once I get it cut out, I'll peel off some of the backing on it in between the letters, and then I'll pull off all of it. I'll get it centered up, and then we'll get it stuck down. And the last thing is to use a handheld heat press, which looks almost like an iron, which I guess basically that's what it is, in order to I should say, activate the glue on there, or the adhesive, so that way it sticks and doesn't come off. I've done several of these now, and it works out really well. All right, the project is now complete, and it's looking really good. Got the green and the yellow all going together with headbands, tail bands, our ribbon, and even the heat transfer vinyl. The whole thing came out really good. It lays pretty flat, and so everything came out pretty well even. I'm really happy with the project. And this was excellent practice. I look forward to doing some more practice, but I'm also looking forward to getting in and doing some bigger projects. So, but like anything, we've really got to be able to practice to keep our skills sharp and to learn and grow new skills. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, then like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all again next time.